Good morning. We are live. It's healthierlife.tv. My name's Paul Bursing. I'm speaking from just outside London in the UK. My co-presenter is...
Good morning, everybody, and almost good afternoon to some of those of you in the rest of Europe and the world. Warren Conley here, coming to you from just outside of Budapest. How about that? We both live just outside of our respective capitals.
That's right. And it's sunny here. Is it sunny where you are?
Not really. No, it's very overcast and windy.
Okay.
Well, sunny, overcast. Let's put it that way.
Right. Let's get going. Let's get into it. Why am I feeling unsteady on my feet now?
Are you? Why?
Well, I can assure you, it's not because I'm drunk. I have had a few drunken episodes in my past, but I don't drink very much now. And it's not because I've just got a big bill in. You know, this huge bill saying you owe us. Well, I'm sure that will come at some stage. But look, having brief episodes of dizziness or feeling unsteady on your feet on occasions can affect anyone at any time. But it does appear worse when you're getting older. So I haven't got that yet. I'm sure it will come at some stage. But what do you think? Why would I be unsteady on my feet?
If you're sure of it happening, then yes, it will happen, definitely. But if you choose not to let it happen, then you have a better chance of it not happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
But why? Back to your question, why would you be feeling unsteady on your feet? Quite a few possible reasons, to be honest.
Well, what we're going to aim at is what is causing it, and I get the feeling, like when someone says words like cancer, it's an all-encompassing word that's got loads of different connotations, and most of them bad until you get rid of it, of course. But the thing I'm thinking about is balance disorder.
I mean, people wouldn't think that there's the term called balance disorder, and
it's a collection, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like dementia, which is a collection of different things, right? So the balance disorder could be something as simple as, like he's mentioned, you got drunk, and I mean, we all experience a lot of the symptoms that you do experience when you have some kind of balance disorder, and that could be dizziness, a sense of vertigo, or even when you're sitting down or lying down and it feels like the room's moving around you, or you're feeling like you're floating. These are all kind of symptoms of a balance disorder. And what could cause it could be, again, a multitude, not necessarily a multitude, but a range of different.
Well, there's quite a few. I mean,
yeah, there are quite. Medication being one. Okay, it could be medication.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, you're right there.
And very often is, all right, especially if it's like opioid medications and things like that. All right. Another one could be blood pressure problems. Could be a sudden drop in your heart rate, blood pressure again. Could be certain health-related issues like, for example, a head injury or an ear infection. Any head injuries bound to make you feel dizzy, or so these are even arthritis, from what I know, is a potential cause for that as well. So.
Yeah, so if someone's feeling off balance, let's put it wobbly, weak, or maybe they've had a little bit of a tumble, they should always seek a doctor or other professional to find out what the causes are. I mean, it doesn't mean to say that they're necessarily going to find out what the cause is, but they normally do. They normally do. So what is balance disorder?
It's a condition that makes you feel dizzy or unsteady, really, and very often is to do with the biology of our ears. If you go into the inner ear canal through the outer ear and then go into the inner ear, you have a lot of different canals, okay, and semicircular canals, and within those canals are fluids. There's 3 different types of fluids that you'll find in that inner ear. And when those fluids move within the ear, that tells the brain, all right, whether you're turning, you're bending, you're doing different movements, all right. So that's a communication from the ear that allows the communication from the ear to the brain to work properly. There's those fluids, and often if we have an ear infection or something like that, other causes where that fluid is not in balance, it's not working properly, the communication is not going to the brain, and this is often what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen when you're standing up. It could happen when you're walking,
Sure.
running, laying
Mhm.
down, watching TV. So there's no one particular thing you're doing when it happens. And so if they keep occurring over time, then you've got to look at a balance disorder and finding out the reasons why. So
It could be temporary. It could be a temporary thing. It could be a
absolutely.
fleeting experience.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience that I had a temporary situation, and I was working all weekend. Nobody was at home, and I walked down to Tesco's just down the road, and I felt all lightheaded and a little bit unsteady on my feet. And I thought about it for a minute when I got back home. I worked out what it was. It was suffering from dehydration.
Okay.
I backtracked all the drinks I'd had over the weekend, and I didn't have much apart from cups of tea. So it was a lack of enough fluid, sufficient to take care. So yeah, so dehydration is one of the big ones. I mean, we've all seen it, haven't we, on films and things like that, where someone's walking through the desert and they're running out of stuff, or they've run out, and what happens to them, and you become disorientated. And the thing is, the longer you leave it, the worse it gets, and because we know the end game if we don't take care of it, and it can mean death. But for the sake of this, what we're talking about is having a problem, maybe walking to the local shop, feeling a little bit unsteady on your feet, something like that, and we need to find out why. So, so what are some of the symptoms? Because there's a few other ones as well.
Yeah, well, falling or the feeling of falling is one. So if you fall regularly,
and again, my phone's going. Sorry, I apologise about that.
Or if you're feeling as though you're going to fall,
that's
definitely a symptom. If you get up regularly, if you regularly experience dizziness when you stand up, that's another possible symptom. Again, that could just be dehydration, could be blood pressure issues, but that could also that's it. That this is what one of the symptoms are. Is that sensation. Blurred vision is another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Confusion,
definitely. Yeah.
I mean, we'll all have our different words for it.
Disorientation.
I say vertigo as well. So it's, but there's lots of. You feel like things are spinning out of control, or you're floating in out of space, or whatever it is, and we've got to get to the problem. And inner ear problems are common, especially in young people. I know that sounds a bit strange because most of what we're talking about would affect older people more, but
young kids get funky stuff in their ears sometimes.
Yeah.
And also that their body's not yet developed enough. The ear canals have, like, for example, we have a daughter that's going to be 11 this year, and she wants to get headphones with an MP3 player and stuff like that, and both Andrea and I are like, no, not yet. She said, big in her mind, her friends have them, so why can't she? And I'm saying, because your ears haven't developed fully yet, the inner ear, and this is one of the main reasons why I don't want her having earphones or headphones, even headphones, which are a lot safer. But it's because with kids, they develop, even their brain is still developing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it hasn't fully developed at that age yet. Their brain is still developing. So it's, these are things, and funky things can happen to kids' ears throughout their younger life, the youngest lifespan, for early years.
Now, I mean, if I was talking to someone just about the basics, I would say get your sleep sorted out, make sure you're hydrating enough. But there's a couple of other things you can do. And it sounds a bit strange, but one of them would be go to the dentist regularly. All right.
Okay.
Because you don't know, because your teeth, your gums, obviously suck in all the bad stuff as well as any good stuff. So you need to do that. And also the other one is regular eye exams.
Yeah, because it could be an eye muscle imbalance, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So so what I'm saying is that the whole key to everything is paying attention and living a reasonably healthy lifestyle. I don't say ultra healthy lifestyle because none of us, or most of us, aren't ever going to do that. But we've got to pay attention to certain things, and because the other thing is nerves get affected by things.
Sure.
Damaged.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
let's say you've had a big collision on the rugby field or soccer field or whatever.
Contact sport.
And you've got problems with feelings in your hands or something,
Feelings.
in your feet, in your legs, or wherever. Allergies, infections, everything plays a part. And as you mentioned earlier, arthritis and low blood pressure. But also the other one.
This is the other thing you mentioned about your feet as well. In that, you have your sensory. Your feet are very sensitive, obviously.
Oh, mine are.
So as we get older, we lose that sensitivity in our feet and our toes a lot because of the certain extremities like your fingers, your feet, and your toes. The blood flow is impacted as we get older very often, and we lose that heightened sensitivity. So we get a little bit of numbness in those areas. And this is like if you have calluses on your heels and your toes and things like this, okay, that's a circulation issue. That's a signal that you have circulation problems to your feet. And once you start to lose those senses, those heightened senses, this could also give you the sense or the sensation that you're losing your balance or you're out of balance or
So should I add a podiatrist to that list then?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, a podiatrist might be useful, but you want to go see an ENT, definitely. Yeah, if you're experiencing symptoms, you want to go see an ENT because not necessarily for your nose or your throat, but for your ears. Okay, you want to go see a eye doctor,
optometrist.
Optometrist, thank you. Or a podiatrist.
I had to think about that one for a minute.
Eye doctor. But yeah, okay. So that's what you want to. Yeah, and as Paul said, you want to go see a specialist. Don't leave it to chance. Don't try to self-diagnose yourself either.
Yeah.
All right. You may haven't. It's good to go online, visit Uncle Google, find out, get an idea as to what's going on, but you still want to go see a specialist.
Yeah, I mean, you just use Google as a guide, that's all, just to get you going. If you want.
I mean, look,
like,
and there's many cases in all areas of health where people have been to doctors, and they've done their own research online before they've been to a doctor, and the doctor hasn't identified something, and they said to them, look, I saw this, and the doctor goes, oh, okay, yes, and that, so you could help a doctor help to diagnose you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can give him what's the history of, say, the last few months or years or whatever it is. You can tell him what you've been doing and what you've not been doing.
Or her, yeah.
What you've been taking, what your nutrition's like. Nutrition's a big part of it as well. So it's there's no one answer to it. Well, there may be if they look in your ear and they can find one of the, I don't know, one of the ones challenges that you've got. Maybe it's an infection or inflammation, so in the inner ear. And there's a few diseases which I'm not going to go into. It's pointless.
There's actually a range of actual disorders relating to that.
Yeah, because I remember being on holiday and someone said I had vertigo, but now when I started looking into it, there's Meniere's disease, which actually fits into what I had.
Okay.
It doesn't mean say it's there all the time. It just means that if you don't take care of yourself, these things can come and play havoc with you.
And Meniere's disease could be tinnitus as well, eh?
Yeah.
Could be as simple as, doesn't have to be vertigo. It could be tinnitus.
I've got a little bit of tinnitus, just a little bit, very occasionally. Let's say 0.1%. That's how much I don't get it, and but it's there sometimes. No hearing loss or anything like that. There's no ring apart from that. There's a ringing in the ear of tinnitus, but
yeah, I have this hissing. I've had a hissing sound in my ears for I don't know how many, quite a few years now, and I've just never been to see anybody for it because I've just lived. I live with it, and it's not something that bothers me necessarily.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's for some people it does bother them. And
so even if I'm meditating and I can hear that hissing sound, it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't affect my balance either. So it hasn't impacted my balance or my ability to So and my balance is good.
I have to be careful when I say that, because I remember being in the gym trying to do the balance bar and things like that, and I have to say in those circumstances my balance is rubbish. On a football field, when I was playing, balance is excellent. So we've all got things that don't work for us. So what about what I was going to say, anxiety and stress?
Well, this is something else that is definitely a case to be had. I mean, case to be taken note of is that if you are struggling with anxiety, fear, even ongoing fear about something, which causes stress and anxiety, then that can also lead to some kind of balance disorder. Okay, which in itself will end up being translated or identified as fatigue and depression in the long run. So you just want to, if you're experiencing a lot of anxiety and fear and stress in your life, and you're noticing these kind of dizzy spells, then yes, definitely you want to go have somebody sorted out. Talk to somebody, at least talk to somebody. Whether it be a psychologist or a coach or somebody, at least go talk to somebody, speak to a professional of some kind, because you may not necessarily have to go see a doctor if you're experiencing fear and anxiety and stress a lot. But if you're able to talk to somebody, that can release that from you. Okay, and then you avoiding the long-term effect, which is the depression and fatigue.
Yeah.
Which is a much stronger health concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so what can we do about it? What can we do to stave off some things? What would you do if you're feeling lightheaded? Would you try and work out what it was?
Yeah, for me, I would typically, because that's who I am. I want to investigate and research and figure out what's going on. But for most people, that either they don't have the intellectual background, or they don't have the time or the ability to think clearly enough to do something like that. So if you're experiencing those dizzy spells, even if it's temporary, but it's quite regular, please go see somebody.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then you need to look at your health, your diet, your eating, your activity levels. Are you moving at all, or do you even walk on a regular basis? These kinds of things. You want to have it dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're coming up on the 20-minute mark, and I'm really going to cut it short today. We haven't done a short one like this for ages, and but the risk of having balance problems increases with people who are getting older. Now, especially after the age of 75, so I've got a little while yet. Balance problems can be an issue in adults over age 65 as well. And now what we're concerned about is A, what's causing it, and B, what can happen. Now, falls and fall-related injuries can have a profound effect.
Mm-hmm.
And on a person's life, as we all know, and And it could be a minor thing like a bit of dehydration, but then you have a fall that affects your life forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, we all like to live independently or as much as we can, but that could be limiting, and it could be life-threatening if something goes wrong and you fall and hit your head or anything like that. So your life could change tremendously. So pay attention to what's happening with your body. Ask a friend, share it with a friend if initially don't want to go to a doctor. But
just talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, talk to someone about it. So
don't get advice from your next door neighbor.
That's right, unless he's in the know.
Unless they're a doctor of some kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a health professional of some kind. Yeah, but otherwise, to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Also, something else is if you're a smoker as well.
I never saw that one. But yeah, I suppose
stop smoking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with that, is there anything else you want to say at all, Warren?
Just take care. If you identify with any of these symptoms and things like that, just take care of yourself. Don't try not to walk around too much in the dark, for example, because that's going to cause more disorientation. For the ladies, wear low-heeled shoes in particular.
Well, if you've got a problem.
Yeah. If that's what I'm saying, if you're experiencing the symptoms, as you say, don't. It could lead to a bad fall. So don't push your luck. Don't push the limits. Yeah. There's a time to push limits and there's a time not to push limits.
Yeah, I mean, it's like just lastly, it's like when they do the international rugby, because I don't watch the other rugby, but and they get any chance of a head injury or anything like that, they have to go through a specific protocol, and most times they don't come back on.
Yeah, most times they don't. Yeah.
No. So
and sometimes
that's think about what you do. You're at home and you strike your head on saying, let it go. Now you've got to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Right. If any changes, let someone know.
You might bump your head. You might knock yourself over here, for example, at the base of the skull. Yeah, and you don't think twice about it. But that's where your
vagus nerve.
I can't think of the name now, but the part of your brain which connects to your central nervous system and your spinal column. All right.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that even if you knock yourself there and you start feeling like neck spasms, things like this, go see somebody. And the reason why they are so strict with rugby these days is because many rugby athletes that have retired in recent years are now experiencing long-term effects from that, dementia. Some have one of the most famous cases is Joos van der Westhuizen, who died of autoimmune disease. And man, that man took some hard hits, a lot of hard hits when he played rugby, and it could happen to anybody. So there's a good reason why in contact sports they're now taking these safety protocols and these measures and putting them into place now, because they identified, as science has improved, the risks of getting head knocks. I mean, they're even thinking of, with football in school level,
not heading the ball.
Not being allowed to head the ball.
Yeah.
And you may think, well, that's a bit ridiculous, but again, the brain hasn't even fully developed yet until you're in your early 20s. So, just make sure that you take care of yourself. That's it. Simple as that.
That's right. It probably affects defenders of football more than attackers. Because attackers are more likely to flick a ball with their head, which is totally different to actually full on. So
yeah, sure.
But anyway, pay attention. Don't wait. Go and see a professional. Come and speak to us, and we'll point you in the right direction. Very simple. Indeed. Okay. If you've got any questions about balance disorder or anything like vertigo, give us a shout. We'll talk you through it. So with that, we're going to go. Have a great week, everyone. And we'll speak to you soon.
And appreciate you listening.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Any questions, let us know. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice week, everyone. See ya.